If you ask anyone what their top 5 MCU movies are, they're either going to answer with what the hell is even the MCU, or at least one or two of the movies on their list are going to be directed by the Russo Brothers. Currently, they hold the record for the highest grossing directors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now they're coming back to direct Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, featuring the return of Robert Downey Jr. as a new major villain, Doctor Doom. Now, as a former MCU fan, this sounds like a dream come true. The Russos are back, RTJ is back, even Stephen McFeely, who wrote the entire Captain America trilogy, and Endgame, is coming back. On paper, the band is back together, so you'd think when I heard the news, I was losing my mind with hype, right? Well, not exactly. I compare this to when I heard James Gunn was going to direct the new Superman movie. For some reason, back then, I felt relieved. I thought to myself, he's got this. Of course, not that the movie's out. Depending on how you think a Superman movie should be, he either nailed it, or you're already signing off from the new DCU and rewatching Man of Steel over and over again. Whether you love or hate his style, you can't deny he's been consistent. Outside of the MCU, he did a great job with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Even the new Superman movie, which was divisive among fans, was a huge success overall and added even more credit to his name. But can you say the same about the Russos? I don't think so. Don't get me wrong, the Russos have produced some great movies lately. Their company produced Everything Everywhere All at Once, which won 7 Oscars, including Best Picture. They also produced the Extraction series, which broke viewership records on Netflix. But can we say the same about the movies they actually directed? The short answer is no. They've directed 3 movies since Endgame: Cherry, The Gray Man, and The Electric Estate, and you can't really call any of them a true success. At least, that's not the vibe I'm getting from the reviews and the data. I think Cherry plays a significant role in the Russos' career. It was their one and only attempt at an artsy or serious drama. Everything before or after this has been mainly comedy and action. I think all the negative reviews from both critics and the audience for Cherry had a major influence on what they did next. Which brings us to The Gray Man. The only memorable things about that movie were Chris Evans' performance, because you rarely see him play a villain, and the record-breaking $200 million budget. I remember putting this movie on for my family to watch, and I didn't see a single reaction from them the entire time. Honestly, it was a poor choice on my part. I thought to myself, surely it's gonna be a fun watch. The Russos are directing, it's got Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and a lot of action. What could go wrong? Well, it wasn't that it was a bad movie, it was just a boring one. I've heard the phrase algorithm-driven action movie, and I think that describes The Gray Man perfectly. It's like asking ChatGPT to make you an action thriller with a $200 million budget. It sounds good on paper, but it fails to deliver a movie that's actually fun to watch. You'd think after The Gray Man failed to meet expectations, Netflix would try to be more conservative with their budgets. You think they wouldn't just trust the Russos so easily again, right? Well, they did, and that's how we got The Electric State. This one confuses me. They trusted the Russos and their vision with The Gray Man, and it didn't quite work out. So instead of toning it down a notch, they broke the record for the most expensive movie on Netflix again. They spent $320 million on this movie, and a spoiler alert, it didn't work out. Now, I'm not here to tell you whether the movie is good or bad. In fact, I recently checked the reviews for these 3 movies, and while the majority are negative, there are more than a handful of people who like them. But when the majority of positive reviews are just saying it's not as bad as they say, you know there's a problem. So how are things on the Marvel side? One might say, look, the Russos did their best work in the MCU. Now that they are reunited with Kevin Feige, they'll definitely deliver the best Avengers movie to date. And let me be clear, I'm not saying Doomsday is going to be a flop. As a matter of fact, I'm actually optimistic about this reunion. I think we might witness peak Marvel again. But, and that is a huge but, Based on what they've seen from the brothers recently and the state of recent MCU projects, I think it's more than fair to be skeptical. They wrapped shooting for Doomsday back in September, and recently they released an official teaser after they couldn't control the leaks. I'm going to be honest with you, after watching it, I only feel more skeptical. It all seems a little desperate. They're using everything they have, or rather everything they had, to get you back into the theaters. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Maybe there's a powerful story here. Maybe when we watch the movie in less than a year, we'll think, yeah, it makes sense that the Steve Rogers is back, or whatever other crazy details they reveal. But it could also just be a cash grab using nostalgia and the love fans have for the OG characters. And if that's what happens, I believe Doomsday will be the last MCU movie that I and many other fans ever watch. But let's not end the video on despair. I'm still hopeful that this movie will be a huge hit. I hope it restores our faith in the Russos and the MCU, so I can look back at this video and say, see, it all worked out fine. Anyway, there goes my first video on YouTube. Feel free to drop a comment and share how you feel about the new teaser and the Russos' return. And finally, if anyone is actually watching this, thanks for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.